Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour. India holds Pakistan accountable for the dastardly terror attack at Pahalgam, suspends Indus water treaty, shuts the Atari-Wagah border. Prime Minister Modi chairs a cabinet committee on security meeting, vows to bring perpetrators of the terror attack to justice. Pakistani military attaches asked to leave India. A pall of gloom descends across the nation as the mortal remains of the victims start reaching their respective hometowns. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to brief leaders at the all-party meeting scheduled later today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate India Steel Global Conference in Mumbai via video conferencing. Over 12,000 business visitors and 250 exhibitors to attend. US President Donald Trump lashes out at Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for refusing to part with Crimea to end this conflict. So the centre of the Indian government has called an all-party meeting on Thursday in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will chair the session, while Union Home Minister Amit Shah, who returned from Kashmir on Wednesday, is expected to brief opposition leaders on the security situation and the government response overall. The meeting will focus on security assessments, intelligence inputs, diplomatic steps taken by the Indian government following the Pahalgam terror attack. So let's get more details on the story by DD India's Dibendu Mondal. Dibendu, it's the first all-party meeting in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack. What is expected and who all are likely to attend?
Well, Tanvi, the all-party meeting that has been called by the government is to apprise all the political parties of the current situation in Jammu and Kashmir and also of the actions and the measures that have been taken by the government. The meeting is going to convene at about 6 p.m. at the Parliament Annex C. The invites have already been sent out by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju to the different political parties that have representatives of more than 5 MPs in the Parliament. So, of course, the all-party meeting is now going to be chaired by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and will be attended by Home Minister Amit Shah as well as Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. And both Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be briefing on the security measures that have already been taken in Jammu and Kashmir, the intelligence inputs that the government have gathered so far, as well as on an update on the investigations that have been underway or have taken place in the state of Jammu and Kashmir with respect to the terror attack that claimed almost 26 innocent lives in the meadows of Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir, as well as Dr. S. Jaishankar on the foreign front will be apprising all the political parties as to what are the diplomatic measures that have been taken by the government, and most of which we are already aware of at the moment, because after the CCS meeting that concluded at the Prime Minister's residence last night, the MEA held a press conference and did apprise that one of the biggest move in which the Indus water treaty has been put in abeyance by the government of India to cripple Pakistan is also something that will be apprised to all the political parties in the all-party meeting that is scheduled at 6 p.m. at the Parliament Annex C. And of course, this is being looked at as a big move by the government to bring all the political parties together at a time when the nation is mourning the loss of 26 innocent lives who had gone on a holiday to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and at a time when Jammu and Kashmir was walking back to normalcy and was trying to go back to its days of glory. So of course, all the political parties are also waiting to hear from the government as to what steps are further going to be taken by the government. And the all-party meeting is expected to be attended by a slew of political parties from across different political ideologies, and also the leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi in the Lok Sabha, as well as leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, who is also the Congress president, will take part in that meeting.
Okay, you talked of different political ideologies, Dibyendu. Tell us, is the opposition united in the government's response to the Pahalgam terror attack, and is there likely to be consensus on issues and measures taken by the government and will be taken in the near future as well?
Well, Tanvi, it seems that all the opposition parties are on the same page at the moment, because we have seen mature statements coming out from the Congress, where we've seen Mallikarjun Kharge, who is also the president of the National Congress, did come out yesterday and say that the Congress party and the entire opposition is behind the government as to and will support them as to whatever actions the government will be taking to bring the perpetrators of this heinous crime to justice. So therefore, it seems that the opposition parties are at the moment in talking in one voice, because it is also a time, Tanvi, keeping aside all our political differences and ideological differences, the political parties have to come together to talk and work to protect the national security and integrity and sovereignty of India. And when the national sovereignty of India is under attack by a rogue nation like Pakistan, who has been carrying out such heinous crimes, in fact, state-sponsored terrorism and proxy wars that it has been raging over decades against the innocent lives of India. So therefore, all political parties has to now walk together in a united voice and as a united country and as a country of united political ideologies to give a befitting reply to Pakistan, who has been carrying out such heinous crimes of an act of terror on the sovereign land of India. So therefore, we expect that all the political parties will come under one consensus, and a consensus on the action and an agreement on, an action of what the actions that the government has taken will bring out some sense of consensus amongst all the political parties, and expect that this meeting to go on till really late this night, because what we are picking up from the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs is that each political party representative that will be present at the all-party meeting will be given a chance to speak and express their views. So therefore, there is a myriad of ideologies and myriad of political people that will be present in the all-party meeting, and each one of them will speak on their stances and as well as on what they expect the government to do. Once the government briefs them as to what actions have the government been taking till yesterday, and in fact today as well, we have been hearing about the encounters in Jammu and Kashmir. So therefore, the meeting will go on till late in the night, and we'll expect an outcome by later this night as to what the all-party meeting concluded when it concludes later in the night.
Indeed, unity is the need of the hour. The whole nation needs to stand united. Thank you very much, Dibyendu Model, for tracking this story for us. So, the Cabinet Committee on Security held a high-level meeting on Wednesday to review the overall security situation in the country. The committee, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, directed all security forces to maintain high vigilance and take all necessary measures to prevent such future terror attacks. India took a series of strong measures following the Pahalgam terror attack. This includes suspension of the Indus Water Treaty 1960, the closure of integrated checkpost Atari with immediate effect. India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri gave details of all these measures taken by India in the aftermath of the attack in Pahalgam. Listen in.
Recognizing the seriousness of this terrorist attack, the CCS decided upon the following measures. 1. The Indus Waters Treaty of 1960 will be held in abeyance with immediate effect until Pakistan credibly and irrevocably abjures its support for cross-border terrorism. 2. The integrated checkpost Atari will be closed with immediate effect. Those who have crossed over with valid endorsements may return through that route before 1 May 2025. 3. Pakistani nationals will not be permitted to travel to India under the SARC visa exemption scheme visas. Any SVAS visas issued in the past to Pakistani nationals are deemed cancelled. Any Pakistani national currently in India under SVAS visa has 48 hours to leave India. 4. The Defence, Military, Naval and Air Advisors in the Pakistani High Commission in New Delhi are declared persona non grata. They have a week to leave India. India will be withdrawing its own Defence, Navy and Air Advisors from the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. These posts in the respective High Commissions are deemed annulled. 5 support staff of the service advisors will also be withdrawn from both High Commissions. 5. The overall strength of the High Commissions will be brought down to 30 from the present 55 through further reductions to be effected by 1st May 2025. The CCS reviewed the overall security situation and directed all forces to maintain high vigil. It resolved that the perpetrators of this attack will be brought to justice and their sponsors held to account. As with the recent extradition of Tahawur Rana, India will be unrelenting in the pursuit of those who have committed acts of terror or conspired to make them possible.
And now let us look at why India's suspension of 65-year-old Indus Waters Treaty is significant. Pakistan relies on the Indus River and its tributaries, Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, for approximately 80% of its irrigated agriculture. Water from Indus contributes 21% to Pakistan's GDP and supports 45% of its workforce. The suspension could halt the flow of 39 billion cubic meters of water annually from India to Pakistan, threatening water availability for irrigation. The Indus Basin is critical to Pakistan's economy, with agriculture and related industries forming a significant part of its GDP. A disruption in water supply could lead to a sharp economic downturn for Pakistan, with ripple effects on trade, employment and food prices. Water scarcity could disrupt agro-based industries which rely on agricultural inputs, potentially reducing exports and worsening Pakistan's balance of payments. Pakistan may seek intervention from global bodies like the United Nations or the World Bank to challenge India's unilateral suspension. However, the success of such efforts is uncertain given India's strategic influence and the treaty's provisions allowing suspension under specific conditions. And for more on the story, we have Akshay Dongre joining us from New Delhi. Akshay, following the terrorist attack, India has put the Indus Water Treaty on hold. In what way will this actually affect Pakistan?
Well, some of the ways that you have been talking about, Tanvi, that about 80% of the agro-based economy in Pakistan depends on the waters from the Indus River and its own tributaries. So when the Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960, both the parties had come to a conclusion and agreement that the water will be shared in a ratioed manner. So about 80% was allocated to Pakistan, and about 20% India had accepted the Indus Water Treaty and has even been gracefully giving more water than it was even allocated to Pakistan, which has kept the agro-based economy in Pakistan alive for decades now. The Indus Water Treaty has survived several wars between the two countries, in fact 4 wars, and several cross-border infiltration, terror attacks, but now the government has said that enough is enough and has finally put the treaty in abeyance, which means a temporary suspension until the time Pakistan irrevocably doesn't act against the terror camps, the terror infrastructure, and doesn't dismantle it for the entire world to see. The government of India will not be adhering to the Indus Water Water Treaty as far as water sharing is concerned. Now, it can actually be devastating for the entire economy of Pakistan. It's not just the agro-based economy. If you look at the overall employment in Pakistan, 34% of it depends on the Indus Water Treaty and the water coming in, which is mostly the agriculture-based employment that is generated in Pakistan is dependent on the waters of the Indus River. By putting it on abeyance, India has directly taken a strong step against Pakistan and its policies of cross-border infiltration and terrorism, and has given a solid response to the country. So clearly, the abeyance of Indus Water Treaty is going to be devastating for the economy and the country in not only the longer term but in short term as well.
Okay, in retaliation for the terror strike, India has also shut the Attari-Wagah border. What does this mean for people-to-people contact and economic and trade relations between the two countries?
Well, it was a symbol of hope that things will someday improve. India has been tolerating Pakistan's, the country that had become a breeding ground for terrorism, the kind of attacks that have been happening, constant support by the intelligence agencies of Pakistan, such as ISI, the Pakistan military, the government, to terrorists who are not only getting training inside Pakistani territory, but also the terror camps that have been set up in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir region. So all of that, despite all of that, the Wagah-Attari border remained as a hope that someday situation will improve. Trade also goes through that particular checkpost, but now after this particular attack, India has also closed the Attari-Wagah border, and this response is befitting to the kind of terror attack that has taken place in Pall.
Okay, Akshay, request you to stay with us. Let me now go over to Vishal Barrister joining us from Srinagar. Vishal, can you perhaps give us some details about the search operations being conducted by the security forces to locate the terrorists that perpetrated this dastardly attack?
Well, Tanvi, the search operations are on. The investigating agencies are on the job. It's a joint operation and it would take some time because 26 people have been killed and 3 encounters are on. 3 infiltration attempts have been encountered by our defense forces. Right now I am here at the Dal Lake, and as you can see, there's a protest going on. The shikaras, which are also the boats of Dal Lake, quite famous all across the world, they are holding a protest and they are holding banners united against terror. So this is the voice in Srinagar. They are trying to somehow maintain peace and tranquility, which was lost because of the Pahalgam attack, and people of the valley, they are coming in out in all support of the tourists. I would ask my cameraman to show you. This is the Dal Lake, and there you can see the tourists. They are enjoying the boat ride here despite of the dastardly act. And there you see the shikaras, the boat owners, they are holding placards in their hands and they are saying united against terror. So let's talk to the local people here and find out what is this protest all about.
देखिए ये आर्यंस ग्रुप ऑफ कॉलेजेस चंडीगढ़ के स्टूडेंट्स हैं. हमारे पास 2000 जम्मू कश्मीर के स्टूडेंट हैं. ये जम्मू कश्मीर के बच्चों ने.
Please speak in English.
Yeah. We have more than 2,000 students in Aryans group of colleges, and these students are protesting against this terror attack, and they are conveying their message through 27 shikaras. We have lost 27 citizens, and they are conveying their message to 27 shikara boats.
So there you hear, Tanvi, the protest is on all across the valley. People of Kashmir, they are also shocked because of this attack, and they know how this has drastically changed the picture here, but the spirit continues, and there you see Dal Lake is still full of life, and we are sending a message. We means the people of Kashmir, they are trying to send a message that they are united against terror, but at the same time the life continues and limping back to normalcy. Tourists are enjoying their boat ride. Yes, the investigating agencies are doing their work. It's a very tough topography there. Thousands of squares of kilometers is the forest. 3 infiltration attempts have been foiled by our security agencies, but as far as the light of the day is concerned, after the sketches were released, we still have to wait after an official statement is released by the investigating agencies. Tanvi.
Yeah, it's a little bit heartening to see that life is limping back to normalcy at the Dal Lake. Thank you, Vishal. I request you to stay with us. Let me go back to Akshay. Akshay, Pakistan has denied its involvement in the terrorist attack, but the attack was carried out by the Resistance Front, which is a shadow group of the LET, which is built on Pakistan's state support. So, can Pakistan's denial really be believed?
Well, I don't know how to respond to that question, Tanvi. Obviously, Pakistan is involved. Obviously, Pakistan's army chief has given such a statement where he has taken up communal tensions, not only instigating these kind of terror modules to attack people based on their religion. So, it's not even a question that whether Pakistan is involved or not. Pakistan has been knee-deep in all sort of terror activities, not just against India, but against Afghanistan, against Iran. We have seen the kind of operations that not only India has carried out inside the territory of Pakistan, but other countries as well. Osama bin Laden was found in Pakistan. So it's not a country that can talk at all about being innocent as far as terror-related cases are concerned. Pakistan has terror modules operating in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. It has terror camps operating 24/7. ISI is directly involved in supplying and arming the terrorists, even training them. Pakistan Army has been providing cover support whenever cross-border infiltration happens. Ceasefire has been violated. So Pakistan is absolutely involved. Any kind of statement or any kind of speech is not going to make any difference as far as the world's belief that Pakistan is a country that sponsors terrorism, that supports terrorism and funds it as well.
Okay, Vishal, in your view, is this terrorist outrage which you are seeing in Srinagar overall going to affect tourism in the valley, or the way you are seeing it at Dal Lake? What's your view? Is it going to improve in the days ahead?
Well, absolutely. I wouldn't say that it won't affect the tourism sector here, because this is the peak season, and the people from all across the country and abroad also, they would like to visit here, and we have had a very good footfall here. But because of this terror attack, there have been rescheduling of the flights. Though life limps back to normal, today the band has been taken off. Yesterday it was a complete band, which is a strike. No business was transacted yesterday. Even the food restaurants were closed in protest against the killings in Pahalgam. But today the boat rides are on. People who are here, who still have some time, or who still do not have a way out of the valley, they are spending their good time here. The locals have come out in all support of the tourists. They are offering them budget tariff. They are offering them free rides to the airport, and they are trying all their very best to somehow maintain the momentum which was lost because of the Pahalgam killing. Tanvi?
Okay, thank you very much, Vishal Barristow and Akshay Dongre, for tracking this story from us. The whole nation is in agony and pain. So in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack, the bodies of the victims have been reaching their respective hometowns. People across the nation are mourning the death of the victims, offering condolences and holding candle marches in solidarity with the victims' families. The mortal remains of the victims have been taken to their respective hometowns for the last rites. The families of victims of the Pahalgam terror attack mourn the loss of their loved ones as they urge the government to take strong action against the perpetrators of this heinous crime. The Pahalgam terrorist attack took the life of Syed Adil Hussain Shah, the sole breadwinner of a Kashmiri family. Shah was killed by the terrorists while he was trying to protect a group of tourists during a brutal terror attack. His untimely death has left his wife, 2 children and the entire family in profound grief. Terrorists also took the life of Neeraj Udvani, a resident of Jaipur who worked in UAE and was spending vacations in Pahalgam.
The serene and quiet lanes and bylanes of this picturesque village of Hapatnad in Pahalgam echoed with wails and shrill cries on Tuesday. the cowardly terrorist attack claimed lives of many tourists in Pahalgam. Syed Adil Hussain Shah, a horse rider and a sole breadwinner for his family, was the lone Kashmiri who was killed in cold blood by the terrorists.
ये एक पहलगाम घोड़े चलाने के लिए गया था। अच्छा। मजदूरी को। फिर हम 3 बजे हमने सुना कि वहाँ पे ऐसा वाक़ा हो गया, जिसमें हमने इसको फ़ोन किया तो फ़ोन स्विच ऑफ आया और फिर बाद में पता चला कि इसको एक्सीडेंट हो गया वहाँ पे। तो फिर हमारे लड़के गए वहाँ, उन्होंने देखा जब तो ये अस्पताल में था वहाँ।
तो घर में और कौन कमाने वाला है?
और कौन है? और छोटे 2 तो बड़ा यही था कमाने वाला, सबसे बड़ा।
Reports suggest that during the attack, Adil displayed remarkable courage by attempting to wrestle a gun from the terrorist. He was shot dead in cold blood. While others chose to flee for life, he decided to try and save some. His regard for safety of tourists ultimately proved fatal. The sacrifice prompted an outpouring of support and condolences. Hundreds gathered to pay last respects to the valiant son of Kashmir as Adil Shah was laid to rest on Wednesday. Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah also turned up at the funeral prayer and hailed his courage to stand up against the armed assailants.
ये एक शख्स थे जिन्होंने हमले को रोकने की कोशिश की और जिन्होंने शायद बंदूक छीनने की भी कोशिश की, और तभी जाके इनको निशाना बनाया गया। इस खानदान का हमें ख्याल रखना होगा, इनकी मदद करनी होगी, और मैं यहाँ इन सबको यकीन दिलाने आया हूँ कि इस मौके पे हुकूमत इनके साथ खड़ी है और जितना हम इनके लिए कर सकेंगे हम कर लेंगे।
The somber and gloomy mood in Kashmir was also reflected in the state of Rajasthan as feelings of anger and despair engulfed a neighborhood in Jaipur. 32-year-old Neeraj Udwani was among the 26 people killed in Pahalgam terror attack. Udwani, who worked in the UAE, was spending his vacation in Pahalgam with his wife when terrorists opened fire on tourists in the Basran meadow. Neeraj's relatives are now demanding a befitting reply to the terrorists.
पूछ के टारगेट किया गया है, वो भी आतंकी है, उनका बिल्कुल सफाया कर देना चाहिए। ऑन द स्पॉट जो डिसीजन गवर्नमेंट लेवे, ऑन द स्पॉट शूट आउट, एक यही है आतंकवाद को खत्म करने का तरीका।
Udwani worked in the UAE and was spending his vacation in Pahalgam with his wife when terrorists opened fire on tourists in the Basran meadow. A time of celebration with family and friends became a lifelong source of misery and anguish. The loss is not only devastating for the families, but is also likely to leave them with lasting psychological scars that may actually never heal. Bureau Report, TD India.
The tragic terrorist attack in Pahalgam claimed the lives of tourists from Gujarat, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. Among the victims were Yatish Parmar and his 17-year-old son Sumit from Bhavnagar, Shailesh Kalatia from Gujarat, Dinesh Mirania from Raipur and Sushil Nathaniel from Indore. Their families have been completely left devastated.
Dinesh Mirania from Raipur, Chhattisgarh, was one of the victims of the dastardly terrorist attack in Pahalgam. He went to Kashmir with his wife, daughter and son to celebrate his 18th wedding anniversary. During the attack, Dinesh was with his daughter Lakshita while his wife and son were a short distance away. The terrorists came and asked for his name, and as soon as he revealed his name, the terrorists shot him dead. The family went to the valley for celebrating wedding anniversary, but returned home with agony, anguish, and Dinesh's mortal remains. Their trip cut brutally short by a dastardly terror attack.
कल हमको 5:30 बजे ऐसा सूचना आया कि इस प्रकार का घटना वहाँ हुई है, जो इसको भी गोली लगी है। जब हम पतासाजी करने की कोशिश की है सरकार द्वारा, यहाँ से जब संपर्क किए तो मालूम चला कि वो हॉस्पिटल ले गए हैं और हॉस्पिटल में 9 साढ़े 9 बजे तक हमको मालूम नहीं चला क्या हुआ क्या नहीं, लेकिन 9:30 बजे के बाद समाचार के द्वारा ये पुष्टि हो गई कि उनका देहांत हो चुका था।
उनका आईडी कार्ड पूछ के ही आतंकवादियों ने उन पर हमला किया, मतलब फायरिंग किया। आईडी कार्ड देखे, उनको कलाम पढ़ने के लिए बोले। उनकी वाइफ और लड़का और बच्ची 3 साथ में थे, उससे उनके साथ में सामने में मारे हैं गोली से। हपातपी मच गई, सब हॉस्पिटल पहुँचे। हमको 8 बजे का डेड बॉडी देखने के बाद कंफर्म हुए, नहीं तो आगे घायल है बोल के हमको खबर मिला था।
Among many families which have been left completely devastated and in extreme agony is the Parmar family from Bhavnagar in Gujarat. It's a double blow for the family as the attack claimed the lives of Yatish Parmar and also his 17-year-old son Sumit. The family and the entire community have been left in a heart-wrenching silence, left by their sudden passing.
जैसे साइट सीन के लिए बाहर निकले आउट होटल के आउटसाइड, तो वहाँ पर आतंकियों ने पकड़ के उसके साथ ऐसा हादसा हुआ है कि उसको शूट कर दिया है। 0 रेंज से ही उसके साथ गोली मार दी है।
Sailesh Kathalia's family from Gujarat was also shattered after the brutal attack. Sailesh was about to celebrate his 44th birthday on April 23rd and had gone to Kashmir with his family to make it a memorable occasion. He was employed with a major government bank in Mumbai and was the only son of his parents.
तो टूरिस्ट पे अटैक करते हैं ये लोगों को, कोई ये निष्ठा इसकी कोई क्या करे हम, इतने गिरे हुए लोग हैं आतंकवादी। पूरे देश यही साथ। आज मैंने मेरा भाई खोया है, कल दूसरे पे मारे गए, सुधरने वाले नहीं है। इसको मार के खत्म करो मोदी जी, इसको खत्म करो।
His untimely death a day before his birthday has left the family at utter loss, which is staring at a future without him, a void that seems impossible to fill. Sushil Nathaniel from Indore in Madhya Pradesh was also killed in cold blood. He too had travelled to Kashmir with his wife, son and daughter to celebrate a family occasion. All wanted to make his wife's birthday a memorable one. The terrorist asked him to recite the Islamic kalma. When he couldn't, they shot him dead in front of his family. His 30-year-old daughter was also injured in the attack.
प्रशासन को धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ कि आज हमारे ऐसे दुखद समय में ये सब हमारे साथ हैं। जो चीज़ हम सिर्फ टीवी में देखते थे कि ऐसा होता है, और आज हमारे परिवार में पहली बार हमारे परिवार में से कोई टेररिस्ट विक्टिम मतलब हम लोग बने हैं। हमारे लिए ये सहन करना बहुत मुश्किल था। कल जब से हमें ये न्यूज़ मिली तब से हम कहाँ कांटेक्ट नहीं करे हैं, और हमारे लिए बहुत मुश्किल है ये समय। हम सबके साथ मतलब मेरे मौसा जी हैं वो साथ में, और हमसे बहुत कनेक्टेड और बहुत ही अच्छे इंसान थे। वो बहुत स्पिरिचुअल थे साथ में, वो बहुत ज़्यादा प्रोफेशनल एंड पर ही बहुत अच्छे थे।
The family is devastated beyond words and still struggling to come to terms with the brutality that took him from them. 58-year-old Sushil was an LIC branch manager and had long wished to visit Jammu and Kashmir, not knowing that this would be his last vacation ever. Bureau Report, DD India.
The mortal remains of Shubham Dwivedi, a 31-year-old cement businessman from Kanpur, has been returned to his residence after he was killed in a terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Kashmir. Dwivedi, who had married Aishanya just 2 months ago on February 12th, was vacationing with her and their 11-member family group in the region. Tragically, Shubham was shot after failing to recite the Islamic verse, the Kalma, during the attack. The family had been scheduled to return home on April 23rd.
एक बंदा पीछे से आया और उसने गोली साइड में रख के उससे पूछा हिंदू है कि मुसलमान है। मुसलमान है तो पहले कलमा पढ़ के दिखा। जैसे कि हमें पता ही नहीं, हम पीछे पलट के देखे हो क्या रहा है। हम उसकी तरफ स्माइल करके पूछे भैया क्या हुआ, कह रहे हिंदू है मुसलमान। मैंने कहा हिंदू, मार दिया।
सबसे बड़ा था हमारा, ये फैमिली में जॉइंट फैमिली थी तो सबसे बड़ा बच्चा था। पहली डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग थी ओरछा से हुई थी हम लोग की, तो हम लोग इतने खुश थे, पूरा परिवार ये है हम लोगों का। पर हम यही चाहते कि जैसा हम लोगों के साथ हुआ ऐसा किसी के साथ ना हो।
उन्होंने तो पूछ के मारा ना कि आप हिंदू हैं, मुस्लिम हैं, कौन है, तो क्या नाम है आपका, कलमा पढ़ के सुनाओ तो छोड़ देंगे। तो इन्होंने सोचा ऐसा कोई है यहाँ का लोकल बंदा जो मजाक कर रहा है ऐसे, तो इन लोगों ने ऐसे मजाक उससे बोल दिया कि नहीं जाओ उधर, हमें न तंग करो, उधर जाओ। इतना कहते ही उसने गोली मार दी।
शुभम भैया उनकी अभी 12 फरवरी को ही शादी हुई है, तो वो और उनकी वाइफ घुड़सवारी करते हुए गए हुए थे ऊपर। वहाँ पर जानकारी हम लोग को ऐसे हुई कि भाभी ने फ़ोन किया नीचे ताऊ जी को कि शुभम भैया को गोली मार दी है सर पर। ऐसा बताया जा रहा है कि नाम पूछने के बाद गोलीबारी वहाँ पर शुरू करी है और सर पे गोली मारी गई है।
Imagine you go for a holiday but get killed in front of your family. That's what has happened in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam. The serene valleys of Pahalgam turned into a graveyard of dreams as families on vacation faced the unimaginable. In one brutal, cowardly attack, lives were stolen, futures crushed, and innocence forever scarred. A blood-soaked tragedy has shattered the peace of a nation. We bring you more haunting stories of those who never returned.
They left home smiling, dreaming of mountains, meadows and memories. But what awaited them was horror, hatred and heartbreak. 52-year-old Atul Mone, a dedicated railway engineer from Dombivli West, Mumbai, was on a holiday with his wife and daughter. He was accompanied by his two childhood friends, Sanjay Lele and Hemant Joshi. But all three friends were mercilessly gunned down in cold blood. Their families shattered beyond words as a fun-filled trip with friends ended in permanent pain and torment.
बहुत अच्छा छोकरा था, एजुकेटेड था, वेल एजुकेटेड। कमी तो खलेगी ना, हम लोग के बच्चे की उम्र का है तो अपना बच्चा और वो बच्चा में फर्क क्या है पड़ोसियों में।
Sanjay Lele was the backbone of a loving joint family. He was an accountant. His life was stolen. His son injured. His family shattered. What remains now is just grief and the sweet memories of his life and bitter trauma of his death. Gone forever is the man who once took care of all.
ये हमारे मित्र परिवार के सदस्य थे, बहुत हंसमुख थे संजय जी, और कैसे वो हर काम में, हर मंडल के काम में वो आगे होते थे हर जगह। और हल्ला हुआ है, वो बहुत बैड हल्ला हुआ है, इसका हम जाहिर निषेध करते हैं।
44 years old, Hemant Joshi had just celebrated his son's 10th grade exams. A devout family man, his only wish was to nurture sweet memories of togetherness and happy moments. Now, the family is left with scars that may actually never heal and take a long time to get some closure.
हेमंत संडे को गया था इधर पहलगाम कश्मीर में, और दूसरा ही दिन ये ऐसा पहलगाम में जाते समय भयानक हमला हो गया। ये बहुत निंदनीय है, और इधर ये कश्मीर है, भारत का नंदनवन सा है अपना, और नंदनवन की जगह ये ऐसा होता है। ये बहुत दुखदायी घटना है, तो ये ऐसा होना नहीं चाहिए। गवर्नमेंट ने उसके ऊपर तुरंत एक्शन लेना चाहिए कि इसके आगे ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, क्योंकि आगे कोई कश्मीर में जाने का नाम ही नहीं लेंगे ऐसा अगर होता है।
Santosh Jagdale from Maharashtra also met the same fate. Surrounded by terrorists, he was shot dead in front of his 26-year-old daughter. The act of cowardice has not only snatched away a life from the family, but left a daughter with the trauma of watching his father being killed in front of her eyes, a trauma that may never leave her.
बेटी आएगी तब पता चलेगा सब, क्योंकि क्या है ना, कोई क्या बोलता है तो ऐसे सुनकर हम उसको तकलीफ नहीं देना चाहते, क्योंकि वो भी छोटी है, उसने सामने से अपने पापा का देखा हुआ है, तो हम इसको ज़्यादा नहीं पूछ पाते।
Known for his warm smile and gentle soul, 64-year-old Dilip Disle had set out on a peaceful tour with his wife. The serene locals of Pahalgam was to be perfect setting for some quiet, tranquil and calm moments. Instead, it left the new Panvel family with a shattered life and a nightmare that may forever seek a calm and soothing morning. Businessman Kastub Ganbote had rarely taken time off, but this trip to Jammu and Kashmir was meant to be special. A rare moment of joy turned into a tragedy that his family and neighbors still cannot comprehend. his warm and cheerful spirit now lives only in memory. These were fathers, husbands, sons, families on vacation, and now they are all gone, victim to the utter madness that knows no humanity, no compassion. The nation mourns their loss and demands justice.
अगर फिरदौस बरुए ज़मीअस्त हमीअस्तो हमीअस्तो हमीअस्त. This famous verse by Persian poet Amir Khusro means, if there is a paradise on earth, it is this, it is this, it is this. It refers to the stunning beauty of Kashmir. Well, the tourists flock to the valley to witness and live the paradise firsthand. But the evil face of terror turned their lives upside down. For them, the serene valleys of Pahalgam became a deathbed filled with the bullets and bloodshed. Today, we don't just recall names. We honor these lives, these dreams, and the gift of existence, all stolen by the cruelty of the terrorists in an instant.
Sameer Guha from West Bengal came to Kashmir to spend a few peaceful days with his wife and daughter. His family had no idea that a day before returning home, their entire world would crumble and change forever. His daughter, who grew up holding his hand, had to endure what no daughter should ever have to. Watch the father who had promised the world to her being killed in cold blood. The childhood memories of laughter and happiness are now forever blanketed by his gruesome killing. Sameer's death has left a void that will never be filled. Also from West Bengal, Manish Ranjan Mishra was an officer in the Intelligence Bureau. Posted in Hyderabad, he had taken a short trip to Pahalgam to soak in the serene, soothing environs and take a breather from his hectic schedules. Now he is no more and has left a family whose world has stopped in a moment. In Jhalda, West Bengal, his family is inconsolable. His home, once filled with his laughter and purpose, now only echoes death, agony, and misery. From a humble background, Prashant Kumar Satpathy from Odisha saved for months altogether to give his wife and their little boy a first real vacation. He was killed in front of his wife and son. The family chose Kashmir with its perfect settings to make it the most memorable holiday. Instead, it has now become a nightmare that may never leave them. The little boy now asks where his father went, and no one has any words that can give a complete answer. Corporal Tage Hailang had only started his new life with his wife. He was young and serving his country with pride. The terrorists stopped them, asked him his religion, and then shot him in front of the woman he had just promised to be forever with. Tage's family in Arunachal Pradesh is also left with just memories and utter anguish and torment. Bitan Adhikari had built a life in Florida, USA, but India was always home for him. He came back with his wife and their little son Hirdan to show them where his heart actually belonged. They planned to return to the US on April 24th, and 2 days before boarding the flight, his life and all the happiness of his family was brutally cut short. His wife and the little boy now stare at a life without him. His 3-year-old son may be too young to understand death, but is actually old enough to feel the absence of his father. Bureau Report, DD India.
A young bride married just 6 days ago stood beside the tricolour draped coffin of her husband, a Navy officer felled by terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam on April 22nd. She whispered a goodbye that the nation will never forget. Lieutenant Vinay Narwal, who was commissioned in the Indian Navy, was killed by terrorists while he was on his honeymoon with his wife Himanshi.
This is the image that will haunt India for many, many years. Himanshi Narwal sitting in shock and stoic silence beside the dead body of her husband in Pahalgam. Dreams of a married life that had just begun, brutally shattered in just 6 days as her husband was killed in front of her. On Wednesday afternoon, Narwal's mortal remains were brought to the IGI airport in Delhi in a casket draped in tricolour from Kashmir. The visuals of a tribute to 26-year-old Lieutenant Vinay Narwal of the Indian Navy filled the wailing hearts with the silence of compassion and anger at the same time. Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta, who was also present, also saluted the coffin and spoke to Himanshi, condoling her loss. Entire India is shocked and stoic watching these images, with emotions oscillating between sheer anger and heartfelt condolences. Narwal had been serving at the Southern Naval Command in Kochi for the past 1.5 years. He was married on April 16. The duo wanted to go to Switzerland, but visa delays sent them to Pahalgam instead. Narwal was on leave and vacationing in Kashmir when he was fatally shot in the attack. The memories of marriage were still fresh in everyone's mind when the tragedy befell, and now everything lies in shatters.
हमारे पड़ोस में ही है नरवाल जी। अभी शादी हुई थी इनकी, 4 दिन पहले रिसेप्शन थी। सारी गली में खुशी का माहौल था। ये जानकारी मिली कि आतंकवादियों ने उनको पूछ के गोली मार दी है।
Narwal is survived by his father Rajesh Narwal, an employee in the excise department, his mother Asha Narwal, his sister Srishti, and his grandfather Hawa Singh. Hawa Singh said that he is confident that if his brave grandson was not shot, he would have killed at least 2-3 terrorists.
मुझे यकीन है क्यों वो अगर वो ऐसे गोली ना लगती तो शायद 2-4 आदमियों को तो वैसे ही पछाड़ देता। इतनी उसमें गुंज। शादी तो 16 तारीख की थी और 19 तारीख की रिसेप्शन थी। आज 3 दिन के बाद ये मातम फैल गया।
Earlier in the day, Navy Chief Admiral Tripathi paid tribute to Lieutenant Vinay Narwal in a post on X. The Navy also expressed its thoughts and prayers for the families of the victims and wished a speedy recovery to those injured. The last rites were held in evening in Karnal, where Narwal's wife broke down and stood inconsolable at the funeral. Haryana Chief Minister Nayab Singh Saini, fellow officers, family members, and other key dignitaries were present. The Navy personnel offered a gun salute as mortal remains were consigned to flames. Bureau Report, DD India.
People from all walks of life are protesting against the terror attack in Pahalgam, and this includes the victims of terrorism in Kashmir. DD India's Vishal Barrister spoke to a specially abled person who is now forced to spend his whole life in a wheelchair.
Whole Jammu and Kashmir is full of anger. They are protesting against the gruesome killing of the tourists. And I have with me Mr. Javed. He himself is a victim of terrorism. Let's talk to him and find out. Mr. Javed, how would you react first on this killing?
We all are sad. We are discouraged. We are unhappy to see that killings have happened, and that in a day broad light. And when we heard about this, we got too much discouraged that we were expecting peace, tranquility, brotherhood. Since 2019, we are seeing that everything was all right. People of Kashmir were engaged in day-to-day works. They were engaged in the hospitality of the tourism, and we are known for the hospitality. But when suddenly we heard about the killings, we got very much discouraged.
Tell me, you yourself are a victim of terrorism. How did it happen?
It happened way back before. It was also a terrorist attack. Since 1997, I am on the wheelchair. I am advocating for the safeguard of rights of persons with disabilities in J&K. When I have started education for children with disabilities.
Now you are carrying a slogan here also. This is Urdu. What does it say?
It says Katleam Band Karo, that stop the killings. Killings has nothing to do with the humanity. We can keep the humanity alive always. When we are humans, we have to care for the co-humans. No religion, no human organization says that killing is legal. Killing is a very bad act, and when it happens, whole humanity dies.
So there you heard, there's a lot of anger here. People are totally against any kind of terror activity here. They are clearly saying, they are openly saying that this is an act of terror at the behest of Pakistan. This is a state-sponsored terrorism, and this is what the people of Kashmir, people of Srinagar want to tell the world. With cameraman Mohit Uike in Srinagar, this is Vishal Barrister for DD India.
And in news coming in from the Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, based on specific intelligence inputs, Indian Army launched a joint operation with Jammu and Kashmir Police in Basantgarh area of Udhampur. The operation Birli Gali, launched after security forces established contact with terrorists during a search operation, has been underway for a few days. Searches were launched following information about the presence of terrorists in the area. As the search parties reached the Berole area, terrorists opened fire, leading to an encounter. An Indian Army soldier sustained grievous injuries in the initial exchange and later succumbed despite the best medical care. Operation Birli Gali is still underway. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate India Steel 2025, the 6th edition of the biennial international exhibition and conference via video conferencing. The event will bring together leading stakeholders from across the globe's steel value chain to discuss the future trajectory of the sector with a sharp focus on growth, sustainability, resilience and innovation. Key highlights of the international conference cum exhibition include the display of cutting-edge technologies and advancements in the steel industry. Next, updates on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky clashed again on Wednesday on efforts to end the 3-year-old conflict in Ukraine. Trump has attacked Zelensky for refusing to recognize Russia's occupation of Crimea, accusing him of harming peace negotiations with Moscow. In a post on Truth Social on Wednesday, Trump described the situation for Ukraine as dire. He said that Crimea was lost years ago and it is not even a point of discussion. Speaking at the White House, Trump said he just wanted to see the conflict end.
Everything is good. Look, I just want to see the war end. I don't care. If they're both happy, they both sign an agreement. I have no favorites. I don't want to have any favorites. I want to have a deal done. I want to save the lives. It's way down from.
Earlier, Zelensky ruled out ceding territory to Russia in any deal before talks set for Wednesday in London among US, European and Ukrainian officials. Zelensky said, "There is nothing to talk about. It is our land and the land of the Ukrainian people."
As we start talking about Crimea, our sovereign territories, etc., we enter the format that Russia wants a prolongation of the war because it will not be possible to agree on everything quickly. Ukraine does not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea. There is nothing to talk about. It is outside our constitution. This is our territory, the territory of the people of Ukraine.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in South Africa on Wednesday night, intensifying diplomatic efforts as US brokered peace talks with Russia gain momentum. Zelensky plans key meetings with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and European leaders from Spain, Poland and the Czech Republic. The visit comes as Zelensky signals readiness to negotiate with Russia if a ceasefire halts the fighting. In a significant development, he also expressed willingness to meet President of the United States, Donald Trump, later this week during the funeral of Pope Francis. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sporting news. Hosts Sri Lanka women announced a 17-member squad with Chamaria Tapattu as the captain for their upcoming Tri-Nation cricket series against India and South Africa. The hosts are coming into the series on the back of a 2-0 ODI series loss in New Zealand. As many as 8 changes have been made to the Sri Lankan squad. Spinner Malki Madara has received a maiden call-up to the ODI squad. Additionally, players like Vishmi Gunaratne, Nilakshi Silva, Hasini Pereira, Piyume Vatasala and Hansima Karunaratne have returned to the squad. And former tennis world number 1, Andre Agassi, is set to make his pickleball debut at the US Open Pickleball Championships in Naples. Agassi retired from professional tennis in 2006 after playing his last match at the Flushing Meadows. Agassi will play his first match on April 30th. He will partner up with teenager Anna Leigh Waters in the mixed pro division. Agassi has participated in pickleball exhibitions with other former tennis players. However, the next week's match will be his first professional pickleball appearance. So that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks ahead on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.